Welcome to another episode of Class Haven Farms. So what do we got going on today? Well, today we are going to put a swivel jack here on our 5x8 carry-on utility trailer. It's really simple, but I have had some of you ask about doing a video on this. So we'll go ahead and knock it out for you. So stay tuned. All right, if this is your first time here at the channel, welcome. My name is Andy and this is Class Haven Farms. So, as many of you know, this is the 5x8 carry-on utility trailer that we got from that company a number of years ago. This is the parts that you're going to need. I actually picked this up at our local Tractor Supply. So this is everything that's going to come with it. So you have your brackets, you have your nuts and bolts, and then you have the swivel jack itself. The only tools that you will need is a 14mm open wrench and a 3/8 ratchet, and I just put a deep 14 on there just to give myself a little bit of room to stay away from the shaft here as I'm putting it on. Okay, so before you put this swivel jack on, you want to look at where you're going to place it and where you're going to put it. For the carry-on trailer that I have, I'm going to want to use this handle because it is convenient to be able to pick it up. So I'm going to put this assembly so that it's just behind this handle so that I can get to the handle. If you cover the handle up, well, now you're not going to be able to get to it unless you try to come from this side. Plus, you're going to have the bolts coming through here with the brackets on the other side. So think about where you want to put it before you mount it. You also want to look at, is this where I want this wheel to be? Is this where I want this handle to be? Depending on the type of vehicle that you're towing this with, that could matter. So for me, I want the wheel here and I want the handle up here. If you look here at the bracket, it has this end here. So you want that pointing up. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get this thing mounted. When you get your mounting hardware, something you want to think about, this carry-on jack assembly is sold to fit a bunch of other utility trailers, not just a carry-on company. So with that being said, they have a bunch of different holes that are here in case you have different size tongues. So that way this kit can accommodate a bunch of other trailers. So you need to figure out which holes you're going to want to use. And the best way to do that is to pretty much just line it up here and see which holes will line up, and then take the jack itself and do the same thing. So you can just kind of eyeball it and say, well, with me, I think I'm going to use the second from the top here on both sides, and I'll do the same thing here. And then this bottom one will line up with this bottom. So make sure you figure out which one you want to do. Otherwise, this thing's going to be all crooked, and then it's going to sit crooked. It's not going to sit flush with the side of the trailer tongue. So if it's not sitting flush, it's not going to work correctly. All right, so if you're doing this by yourself, you can see it's going to be kind of cumbersome, which is why I use the cinder block there to hold the tongue, and then I can kind of use my knee here to steady this bracket so that I can at least get the bolt started. The way that I'm going to run these bolts through is the head, or actually the end of the bolt, I'm going to start here on the side of the jack and then run that through, mainly because when I go to tighten everything up, I want to be here with my ratchet, and then I don't have to worry about busting my knuckles over here on this side. So as I said, this trailer assembly, jack assembly, whatever you want to call it, is universal, so it'll fit a bunch of different models, makes and models. So you just got to try to finagle it and figure out what will work for your setup. I think this will probably work pretty good for us. And on the other side, you do the same thing. Definitely would be easier with a couple set of hands. But as you guys know, I can do everything by myself anyway. So there we go. So now it's just going to be tightening these up and see how it fits. So when you're taking this in, just try to bring these bolts in evenly. And then just before it starts to get too tight, if you don't like where this is placed, you can slide it down or up, or loosen these bolts as you need to. So if you were trying to do this by yourself and you were having a hard time and this whole assembly was down here and you want it further up here, just leave these bolts loose and you can slide it up the tongue. So where this is a good spot for me. So I'm going to go ahead and finish tightening this up. And just as it starts to snug in, then you move over to the next one. And then move down to your bottom ones, and you're just doing the same thing. So as you bring these bolts, as you tighten these bolts up, just try to do them evenly as best as you can. And that way it'll pull itself together. All right, nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. All right, something you might want to think about. This might be something that you add this to your list of things to check on your trailer as you periodically drive it. Make sure these bolts aren't coming loose. I'll show you here from the top. So again, because this is universal, you can see how long these are. So if you wanted to, you could cut these off. I'm going to leave them only because, as some of you know, I don't own this trailer. This was given to me by the carry-on company. So if at any point in time they contacted me back and said, hey, want to get that trailer back, I'll go ahead and take this off because I did buy this. So I'll take it off before I send it back to them. But that's it. I'll show you. All you do is pull this spring here, pull that lever, and now you can take the jack assembly down. So if this was sitting on the truck right now and I wanted to lift it off, or if it was sitting on the heavy hitch on the 790 John Deere, I can go ahead and pick this up and the wheel will pick everything up. The nice thing about the wheel too is if you have a nice paved driveway, you could move this thing around very easily with just this wheel and move it around as you need to. So just a real quick video on this. Just hopefully it helps somebody out in case you guys are having questions. And I had definitely gotten over the years a lot of messages from you guys wanting to know why I didn't have one of these. And to be perfectly honest with you, for me, this trailer is light enough you can just pick it up, move it around. But there have come times, if you watched in the last video that I did, where I had this thing fully loaded of logs, and it was a pain if I didn't want to unload the trailer and I needed to use the truck for something else. It would be nice to have something like this because then I could just lift it off. So yeah, I think it'll come in handy. Hopefully this helps some of you guys out. And as I said, this was mainly just because of responses that I've gotten from you guys over the years. So as always, if you like this kind of stuff, make sure that you like and subscribe, follow us along. And as always, I'll see you on the next one.